Remember when SUVs were actually SUVs? Not lifted hatchbacks, not grocery getters on stilts, but real, honest-to-goodness trucks with a roof. If you grew up in the early 2000s, you probably remember the original Nissan X-Terra. It had that weird stepped roof, the chunky tubular roof rack, and a built-in first aid kit right on the tailgate. It was the ultimate vehicle for people who actually went outside and got their boots dirty. Well, the legend is finally back. Welcome back to Crownline Reviews, everyone. Today we are looking at something very special. This is the 2026 Nissan X-Terra 4X4, and we need to find out if it still has that rugged soul or if it has gone soft like the rest of the market. Let us take a quick trip down memory lane before we dive into the new metal. The original X-Terra was a massive hit because it did not pretend to be a luxury car. It was built on a tough truck frame. It had a simple interior that you could practically hose out, and it was tough as nails. It was the car you took mountain biking, camping, and surfing without worrying about scratching the leather. But then the world changed. People wanted better gas mileage, softer rides, and more screens. The true off-roader was slowly replaced by the crossover. Nissan retired the X-Terra, and a lot of enthusiasts felt a real sense of loss. We have been begging for a true competitor to the Bronco and the Wrangler, something with Japanese reliability but real trail chops. Nissan finally listened. They brought back the hyphen in the name, and they brought back the attitude. But evolving a classic is a dangerous game. If you change too much, you alienate the loyalists. If you change too little, nobody buys it. So how did they do? Just look at this thing sitting here in the showroom. It is absolutely striking. The paint is this incredibly deep, glossy midnight black that reflects the bright showroom lights like a mirror. It makes the car look like a shadow waiting to be unleashed on the trails. Notice how boxy and upright the silhouette is. There are no swooping aerodynamic jelly bean curves here. This is a two-box design, pure and simple, just like a proper 4x4 should be. The front end is incredibly bold. You have this wide, blacked-out grille with the new minimalist Nissan badge sitting proudly right in the center. Flanking that grille are these sharp, horizontal LED daytime running lights. They give the truck a very focused, almost aggressive stare. It looks like it means business, even when it is just parked next to those sleek white and black luxury sedans in the background. My absolute favorite part of the front end is down below. Look at that chunky silver gray skid plate wrapping up from the bottom bumper. It breaks up all that black paint perfectly and gives the front end a very muscular jawline. And tucked right into the corners of that lower fascia are these fantastic little pops of color, bright red tow hooks. It is a small detail, but it immediately tells you that this vehicle is ready to get pulled out of the mud, or more likely, pull someone else out. Moving down the side, you can see the thick black plastic cladding around the wheel arches. That is exactly what you want when you are brushing past branches on a narrow trail. You do not want to scratch up that beautiful black paint. The wheels are a brilliant two-tone design. They are black alloy with these machined silver faces that catch the light beautifully, wrapped in some seriously meaty tires that look ready for the dirt. You also get sturdy side steps and, of course, prominent roof rails up top. It is a masterclass in modern, rugged design. Now, while we are admiring the outside, let us talk about what it feels like to climb inside. When you open that heavy, solid door and pull yourself up using the grab handle, you're greeted by an interior that perfectly balances modern technology with old-school durability. Nissan knows that the people buying this truck are going to get it dirty. So instead of delicate piano black plastics and fragile white leather, you get tough, wipe-down materials. The dashboard is straightforward and blocky, echoing the exterior design. The buttons and dials for the climate control and the four-wheel drive system are large and chunky. You can easily operate them while wearing thick winter gloves. That is a small detail, but it makes a huge difference when you are actually out in the freezing elements trying to get warm. But do not think for a second that this is a tractor. Nissan has integrated a beautiful, crisp infotainment screen right into the center stack. It is Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all the modern trail mapping software you could ever need to find your way home. The seats are incredibly supportive, wrapped in a durable, water-resistant fabric that feels like it could survive a nuclear winter. And the space in the back is fantastic. Because of that boxy, upright roofline, your passengers have miles of headroom. The cargo area is vast, with a flat loading floor and plenty of tie-down points for your camping gear, your dogs, or your mountain bikes. They even kept a nod to the original with a clever storage compartment built right into the rear cargo area. It is a cabin designed for real life, not just for looking pretty in a glossy brochure. Underneath that flat, commanding hood, Nissan has given the new X-Terra the heart it truly deserves. Gone are the days of sluggish, thirsty, old-school V6s. For 2026, we are looking at a highly advanced, turbocharged power plant. It delivers roughly 300 horsepower and a massive wave of low-end torque. That torque is exactly what you need when you are trying to crawl over a boulder or pull a heavy trailer up a steep mountain grade. It is paired with a smooth shifting 9-speed automatic transmission that always seems to know exactly which gear you need. But the real magic is the four-wheel drive system. This is not a slip-and-grip all-wheel drive setup from a family crossover. This is a proper, part-time four-wheel drive system with a 2-speed transfer case. You get 4 high for snowy roads and 4 low for serious rock crawling. They have also included electronic locking differentials for both the front and the rear. If you do not know what that means, let me explain it simply. Normally, a car sends power to the wheel that is slipping, which is useless in the mud. The locking differential forces both wheels on an axle to spin at the exact same speed, no matter what. It means that even if 3 of your wheels are buried in the mud, the one wheel on solid ground will pull you out. It is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for off-roading. Add in the impressive ground clearance, the steep approach and departure angles, and the heavy-duty suspension, and you have a vehicle that can genuinely go anywhere a Wrangler or a Bronco can go, but with a uniquely Nissan flavor. So what does it actually feel like to drive? Let me paint a picture for you. You climb in, hit the push-button start, and the engine settles into a quiet, confident hum. When you pull out onto the road, the first thing you notice is the commanding driving position. You're sitting high up, looking out over that big flat hood. You feel safe, you feel invincible. The steering has a reassuring weight to it. It is not light and twitchy like a sports car, it is deliberate and steady. On the highway, it is surprisingly refined. The thick tires do produce a bit of road noise and the boxy shape catches the wind, but it is completely manageable. You could easily drive this across the country without feeling exhausted at the end of the day. But the real joy comes when the pavement ends. Imagine turning off the highway onto a rutted gravel logging road. In a normal car, you would be clenching your teeth, waiting for the suspension to bottom out and crack a bumper. In the X-Terra, you just smile. The suspension soaks up the washboard bumps with ease. You feel the chassis working underneath you, absorbing the impacts while keeping the cabin stable. When you shift it into four-wheel drive and tackle a steep rocky incline, the truck just walks right up it. The throttle response is perfectly tuned for off-roading, smooth and predictable, never jerky. You can hear the crunch of the dirt under the tires, you can feel the mechanical grip of the four-wheel drive system working, and you realize that this is exactly what this machine was born to do. It makes you want to explore. It makes you want to see what is over the next hill. Let me ask you a question. How many of you currently drive a crossover SUV? You know, the ones that look like a hiking boot but are really just a tall hatchback. Be honest, how often do you actually take it off the pavement? If you're just commuting to work and getting groceries, a crossover is perfectly fine. But if you are the kind of person who spends their weekends at the trailhead, or if you just want the peace of mind knowing that a massive blizzard will not stop you from getting your family home safely, you need something more. You need a real truck, and that is exactly who this new X-Terra is for. It is for the dreamers, the doers, and the people who refuse to be confined by paved roads. Now we have to talk about the reality of owning a vehicle like this. Because as much as we love the romance of off-roading, you still have to live with it every single day. First, let us talk about fuel economy. Because this is a heavy, boxy vehicle with big tires, it is not going to win any environmental awards. You are going to spend more time at the gas pump than you would in a hybrid crossover. That is just the price of admission for this level of capability. You also have to consider the size. While it is not as massive as a full-size truck, it is still a substantial vehicle. Parking in tight city garages might require a three-point turn, and the heavy steering that feels so good on the trail can be a bit of a workout when you are trying to parallel park outside a coffee shop. However, when it comes to reliability, Nissan has a strong track record with their body-on-frame trucks. The engines and transmissions are proven, and the simple, rugged nature of the suspension means there are fewer delicate parts to break when you are out in the wilderness. Running costs will be slightly higher due to the specialized tires and the maintenance required for the four-wheel drive system, but it is a fair trade-off for the durability you get. This is the kind of vehicle you buy and keep for 15 years. It is the kind of vehicle you pass down to your kids when they get their driver's license. It is built to last, and in today's world of disposable consumer goods, that is a truly beautiful thing. I want you to think about your daily commute. Think about the sea of silver, gray, and white jellybean-shaped cars you sit in traffic with every single day. It is boring, isn't it? Driving has become a chore for so many people. But when you walk out to your driveway and see this glossy black, rugged machine waiting for you, it changes your mindset. It makes the morning drive feel like the beginning of an adventure. Even if you are just going to the office, you know that you could turn left instead of right, head up into the mountains, and leave the world behind.